let me ask you a question. Think about the last time you tried to learn a new physical skill.
Oh, yeah. Always a humbling experience.
Right, like maybe it was a tennis serve
Mm.
or, a complex dance routine or a golf swing.
Mm.
You probably started by watching a video of a professional.
Exactly. It's the standard starting point.
Yeah, so you analyze it, you stand in front of the mirror, and you try to perfectly copy the exact angle of their arms and like the twists of their shoulders.
Mhm.
And in your head, your posture looks absolutely identical to the pro.
Oh, of course it does. In your head, you're Tiger Woods.
Right. And then you actually step out onto the court or the course and you try to execute the movement, and you fail absolutely miserably.
It is a totally universal, incredibly frustrating human experience. I mean, because we are naturally visual creatures, right?
Yeah.
We operate under this assumption that if we can just replicate the surface level shape of a movement like what it looks like from the outside.
That we've got it figured out.
Exactly, that we have mastered the movement itself. But as you just pointed out, trying to reverse engineer physics just by looking at the outer shell almost never works.
It literally never works. You end up pulling a muscle or, slicing the ball into the woods, and you're standing there completely confused about what went wrong.
Because you felt like you were doing exactly what the video showed.
Exactly. Well, that disconnect between what a movement looks like and what is actually happening underneath is exactly what we are tackling in today's deep dive.
It's a fascinating topic.
It really is. We were looking at a new wave of sports science that basically proves looking at the surface just isn't enough anymore.
No, not even close.
Specifically, we're diving into how invisible elements like ground reaction forces, kinematics, and artificial intelligence were being combined to completely decode things like the golf swing.
And we're exploring this through the lens of a platform called eCoach360. And what makes this platform worth our time today isn't just that it's, another piece of sports tech.
Right, there's a million of those.
Yeah. Exactly. It's that it represents a massive paradigm shift in how we actually understand human movement. I mean, it is a comprehensive ecosystem.
And it's incredibly accessible too, right? Like globally.
Yeah, actually available right out of the gate in 5 languages.
Oh, wow. Which ones?
English, German, Danish, French, and Spanish. And it attempts to translate the incredibly dense, complex physics of biomechanics into something anyone can actually use to improve.
So let's unpack the science here, because before you can fix a physical problem, you have to actually understand the vocabulary of the movement.
You absolutely do.
You need a foundation of knowledge that goes way beyond just, watching a golf ball fly down the fairway.
Right, because for a very long time, traditional golf coaching relied heavily on what we call ball flight laws.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
Well, you hit a slice, and the coach tries to reverse engineer what your hands must have done at impact to make the ball curve that way.
Just working backward from the mistake.
Exactly. But the ball flight and even the visual path of the club are just the end results of invisible forces. To truly understand speed and consistency and overall movement quality, you have to go deeper into the underlying causes.
You're talking about the actual physics?
Yeah, you have to understand kinematics, which is basically the geometry of motion and ground reaction forces.
Okay, wait. Let's pause on that term, ground reaction forces, because that sounds like something out of a physics lab, not a driving range.
Well, it is pure physics. Specifically, it's Newton's third law.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
You got it. When a powerful golfer swings a club, they aren't just spinning their arms around, they're actively pushing down and twisting into the earth with their feet.
Really?
Into the ground.
Yes. And the earth pushes back up with an equal amount of force. That upward and rotational energy travels from the ground, through the legs, into the hips, up the torso, down the arms, and finally out to the club head.
It's like cracking a whip.
Yes.
Like the energy starts at the handle and accelerates all the way to the tip. That is the exact perfect analogy, like cracking a whip. And in biomechanics, we call the efficiency of that energy transfer kinematic sequencing.
Kinematic sequencing.
Right. So if your hips fire out of turn or if your torso stalls, that sequence is broken. The energy just bleeds out.
So the whip doesn't crack.
The whip doesn't crack and you hit a terrible shot. And the crazy thing is, no amount of adjusting your grip or moving your arms is going to fix a flaw that actually started with how your feet interacted with the ground a fraction of a second earlier.
Wow. Which perfectly illustrates why the mirror technique failed.
Exactly.
You can't see someone pushing into the ground. It's an invisible force.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the first area of the eCoach 360-degree platform, which they call the Workshop Center.
Right, the foundation.
Yeah. And our sources list the specific mechanics they teach here, and it's intense. We are talking about pelvis sway, chest sway, pelvis rotation, chest rotations.
There's more.
Yeah. Lift, side bend, forward bend, and kinematic sequencing.
I mean, when you hear that list, you really start to realize that a single swing of a club is an incredibly complex chain of events, and it's all happening in less than 2 seconds.
It honestly reminds me of trying to diagnose a broken car engine by only looking at the exhaust pipe.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Because traditional coaching, where you watch the ball fly and guess what went wrong, is like saying, well, the smoke coming out of the tailpipe is black, so maybe we should just change the steering wheel.
Right. It makes no sense when you think about it like that.
Exactly. But diving into, like, pelvis sway and kinematic sequencing, that's like finally popping the hood and looking at the pistons, the timing belt, and the actual engine mechanics.
And popping the hood is exactly what the workshop center is doing. It shifts the focus entirely away from the symptom, which is the bad shot, and focuses squarely on the system, which is your body's mechanics.
Can you give me a specific example from that list?
Sure. Let's take pelvis sway versus pelvis rotation. So sway is when your hips slide laterally away from the target during your backswing. It feels super powerful to the amateur, but it actually destroys your center of gravity.
Oh, interesting. So it's a false sense of power.
Totally. Now, compare that to rotation. That is turning your hips like you are standing inside a tight barrel. You're not sliding, you're coiling. The workshop center breaks down exactly why one loses power and the other generates it.
But normally popping the hood on human biomechanics means you have to sit down and read, like a 500-page textbook on sports science.
Yeah, it's incredibly dense.
Right. What stands out to me here is how the AI acts as a targeted filter to prevent information overload.
That's the real magic of it.
Because you don't have to read the whole manual. You just click on a topic, like forward bend, and ask the AI for the cause and effect relationships. It translates the physics into instantly understandable language for you, the user, right in that exact moment.
And that on-demand translation is crucial because, let's face it, movement science is inherently intimidating. The AI gives you exactly the piece of the puzzle you need.
Without overwhelming you.
Exactly. It explains the anatomical connections without drowning you in unnecessary data.
Okay, so having this encyclopedia of mechanics is great for studying at home, but golf isn't played in a library.
It definitely is not.
When a coach is standing on a windy driving range with a frustrated student, they can't exactly ask them to pause for 20 minutes while they look up pelvic sway on a tablet. We have to move from foundational theory to live application.
Right.
So how does this actually work in the real world for a teacher?
Well, that limitation is addressed by the second module in the ecosystem, which is the AI Golf Assistant Pro. And this is built specifically for the golf professional who is operating in real time.
Okay, so picture this. A coach is giving a live lesson. They spot a strange movement pattern. Maybe the student's chest is dropping dramatically through impact.
A very common issue, yeah.
Right. Normally, the coach relies on their memory of biomechanics, or maybe they just try a few generic drills to see what sticks. But with this module, the coach queries the AI right there on the range.
In seconds.
The AI instantly processes the observation, explains the underlying biomechanical connections, outlines the root causes, and then suggests highly specific drills to fix that exact kinematic failure.
It's providing the professional with a 247 biomechanics and kinematics assistant, a virtual sounding board that operates instantaneously.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's unpack this because I have to push back here a little bit.
Go for it.
If this AI assistant is diagnosing the swing, finding the root cause, coming up with the coaching ideas, and then prescribing the specific drills, isn't it basically replacing the coach?
I hear that all the time.
Right. Like, why do you even need a human paying for a lesson if the AI is doing the entire job?
It is the most common fear surrounding AI in sports, but you have to look at the initiation of the workflow. The coach is the one giving the lesson.
Okay.
The coach's human eye, their intuition, and their years of experience reading body language are what spot the pattern in the first place and initiate the query.
I hear you saying that. But if the AI is the one prescribing the drill, isn't the coach just becoming a glorified middleman? Like they spot a flaw, they ask a machine, the machine gives them a script, and they just read the script to the student.
You are leaving out the entire art of human pedagogy. Knowing the mechanical fix is only like 10% of coaching?
Only 10%?
Easily. Translating that fix to a human being who might be frustrated, tired, or lacking confidence is the other 90%. The AI doesn't know if the student is having a terrible day and needs a gentle, encouraging progression of drills.
Oh.
Or, if they're a highly competitive athlete who needs a rigorous, tough love technical breakdown, the AI simply provides the objective kinematic baseline.
It just gives the facts.
Right. It backs up the coach's intuition with hard data, but the human being is still entirely responsible for managing the human-to-human interaction.
Okay, when you frame it like that, it makes a lot more sense. It's the ultimate wingman. It's like a coach having a team of sports scientists whispering in their ear, giving them the confidence to say, yes, my intuition about your chest dropping was correct. The science backs it up, and here is how we, together, are going to fix it. It completely removes the guesswork for the coach.
It elevates the quality of the lesson immensely. The coach doesn't have to be a world-class biomechanist. They just have to be a world-class communicator, letting the AI handle the complex physics processing.
But professional coaches aren't the only ones who need access to this data.
Oh, absolutely not.
Think about you, the listener. What happens when you are out on the driving range, completely alone at 8:00 p.m., hitting balls off a synthetic mat?
We've all been there.
Suddenly everything falls apart, you're hitting terrible shots, your back hurts, and you have absolutely no idea what went wrong.
And panic sets in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have a pro standing there to query an assistant for you. This brings us from the professional coach to the individual player with a module called the AI Golf Coach.
This is where we see the true democratization of sports science.
That's a big word, democratization.
It is, but it's accurate. Historically, to get this kind of data, you needed a $30,000 force plate system and a lab technician to read the graphs for you.
Which nobody has.
Right. The AI Golf Coach module is aimed directly at the player. It's designed to make the science practical for everyday independent training.
And the input method is what absolutely fascinates me. Yes, players can ask technical questions, but our sources highlight that golfers can also input their movement feelings or their ball flight tendencies.
The inclusion of movement feelings is a brilliant design choice.
Why is that so important?
Because human beings don't experience their own biomechanics in degrees of flexion or rotational velocities.
Right, I'm not thinking my pelvis is at 45 degrees.
Exactly. We experience them as highly subjective physical sensations. We feel stuck or tight or wobbly.
Yes. It's essentially a translation engine for the human body. Let's say you're on the range and you type into the app, "My swing feels weirdly tight in my shoulders today, and my ball keeps slicing sharply to the right."
A very common input.
That is an emotional, subjective input. But the AI acts as a translator. It takes that vague feeling and connects it to an objective biomechanical reality.
It bridges the gap. For instance, in response to that prompt, the AI might explain that your shoulders feel tight because you are failing to properly rotate your torso.
Okay.
When your body's rotation stalls out, your arms are forced to violently whip past your body to compensate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this not only creates that tight, uncomfortable feeling in your shoulders, but it also physically forces the club face open at impact, which is what causes the slice. It connects the what of your feeling to the why of the physics.
And then it provides practical, daily solutions to fix the torso rotation without you needing a PhD to understand it. I love the empowerment behind that.
It's huge.
You aren't just blindly hitting another bucket of balls hoping the weird tight feeling goes away while you're just reinforcing bad habits.
Yeah.
You're actively decoding your own body.
It completely fosters independent learning. When a player begins to understand the why behind their own body mechanics, they become their own best observer.
They can coach themselves, essentially.
They develop a deep internalized awareness of their physical kinematics. They aren't relying on an external authority to magically fix them. They are learning to pilot their own machinery.
Which sounds incredible, but it also brings up a glaring issue with how humans learn.
Okay, what's that?
Well, we've talked about the workshop center serving as the foundation of knowledge. We've got the AI assistant for the pros, and the AI coach serving as a translation engine for the solo player.
Right.
Having access to this knowledge is one thing, but true mastery requires actually internalizing it. If an app just hands you the answer every single time, how do you build any actual retention?
That's a fair point.
You could just become completely reliant on the AI, right?
Yeah. Access to information definitely does not equal retention of information. Muscle memory and neurological retention require active recall, not just passive reading. And this limitation is exactly what the fourth pillar of the eCoach 360-degree ecosystem addresses. the assessment system.
Right, because an educational loop isn't closed until you actually check your understanding. The assessment system allows users to test their knowledge of biomechanics through randomly generated quizzes or custom-built tests focusing on specific weak points.
The AI automatically generates these multiple choice questions based on the parameters you set. But what we really need to focus on isn't the fact that it's a quiz. I mean, quizzes have been around forever.
Right, a quiz is just a quiz.
It's the immediate feedback loop built into the architecture of the system that matters.
After every single answer you submit, the system stops and comprehensively explains exactly why your answer was right or wrong.
Neurologically, that immediate why is the linchpin of learning.
Really, just the immediacy of it.
Absolutely. If you take a standard test and just get a red X or a green check mark at the end, you might eventually memorize which option is correct, but you won't understand the underlying logic.
You're just memorizing A, B, or C.
Exactly. By explaining the exact kinematic reality immediately after the user's brain has actively engaged with the problem, the neural pathways are primed. The test ceases to be a static evaluation and becomes an active, ongoing learning process.
It's kind of like playing a really beautifully designed video game.
How so?
You know, the ones where if you fail a level or a boss defeats you, the game doesn't just flash game over and send you back to the start.
Right.
It immediately teaches you the exact parry mechanic or the specific timing you need to master to beat them next time. It essentially says, here is why your timing failed, and here's the exact tool to fix it.
That is a brilliant comparison.
That's what this assessment system is doing for sports science. It's an active loop of continuous improvement.
And that feedback loop is what separates this ecosystem from a classic online academy. A traditional video library is a one-way street of passive consumption. You watch, you hope you absorb.
But you usually don't.
Usually not. eCoach360 degrees merges education, artificial intelligence, physical training, and coaching support into an interactive loop that constantly demands input and actively checks for understanding.
So, synthesizing everything we've explored today, eCoach360 degrees is taking the invisible forces that govern human movement, the kinematics, the ground reaction forces, that intricate chain of bodily events from the feet to the fingertips, and it's making them visible.
That's the core of it.
It's making them understandable, actionable, and testable for anyone, regardless of whether they have a science background or not.
It is bridging a massive, massive gap between elite, high-level sports science labs and the everyday practitioner on the driving range. It removes the guesswork, the mimicking of the surface, and replaces it with accessible, objective truth about how the body actually moves through space.
I want you, listening to this right now, to apply this framework to your own hobbies or professional pursuits. Think about the skills you are trying to master right now.
Whatever they might be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How much faster could you level up if you stopped focusing on the superficial results, the exhaust pipe of the car, and had a tool that could completely decode the underlying biomechanics or the foundational physics of your specific field?
When we shift our perspective away from replicating the surface and toward understanding the underlying mechanics, our potential for growth isn't just incremental, it becomes exponential.
Which leaves me with one final kind of mind-bending thought for you to mull over. We've spent this deep dive looking at how AI can perfectly map, explain, and correct the intricate kinematics of a golf swing, often based simply on our reported feelings and a few visual observations.
Right.
What happens when this exact technology scales to all physical human movement?
Oh, wow.
Think about physical therapy, ergonomics, or literally just walking down the street. Will we all soon be walking around with an AI biomechanics coach in our pocket, seamlessly analyzing our gait, correcting the posture we hold while sitting at our desks, and preventing injuries before they ever happen?
It's definitely coming.
Because once we have the power to truly see the invisible forces beneath the surface, there's absolutely no limit to what we can optimize.